is a review of the reviews, as it were. Been watching politics for 10 years. This is my manifestation of trying to make real the idea of blogosphere.com back in 2004. Yeah, that was me. Didn't do anything with it. Went and joined the law firm. Alright, and you may notice that a lot of the reviews, well, it seems to be quite oriented towards MSNBC. Well, there's a reason for that. One, we get to keep alive the Keith Olbermann tradition of paperwork in your camera face. But seriously, more importantly, MSNBC is the only cable news network that I know of and have seen. And I used to watch Fox News quite a bit years ago when blogosphere was in my mind. And I wrote many a treatise on the current issues going on back then. But they are the only network, MSNBC, again, whom has, or that has, Republicans on point. Scarborough country until the Imus debacle. Now he's on in the morning, and that's like, 3 to 6 in the morning here, Pacific time. So I don't get to see him as much. But you got S.A. per se, per se, on the cycle, and they have plenty of Republican guests on it. They even used to have Laura Ingraham and Ann Coulter on there. This is MSNBC. That's why we cover them. All right, so they're on every day. They have such great material. My intent is to try to bring these things to you, in case you missed them, for posterity's sake. And so you may be asking, well, the Tai Chi, well, you're not demonstrating martial arts. No, the Tai Chi martial art came long after the Tai Chi. The symbol of yin and yang, the origin of yin and yang is right here, the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu. I wholeheartedly recommend it as reading for anybody of any faith, because it's the only book that's given me peace. And it's not so much a religious or organized religion kind of a book. It's more of a spiritual, philosophical guideline as to how to get along with everyone and everything in the universe. Alright, so I've set it up. So at the end of each show, I'm going to try to read a bit of wisdom from the Tao Te Ching, and also quote something from myself that represents the right of center, since she can't talk, because a lot of times MSNBC does represent the left of center, or just the slightly left of center viewpoint. The only Republican talking points you might get is vis-a-vis the guests. So I'm going to prove that I'm a little bit right of center and present things to you such as it may come up.
We have the president.
This afternoon I spoke with Governor Malloy and FBI Director Mueller. I offered Governor Malloy my condolences on behalf of the nation and made it clear he will have every single resource that he needs to investigate this heinous crime, care for the victims, counsel their families. We've endured too many of these tragedies in the past few years, and each time I learn the news, I react not as a president, but as anybody else would, as a parent. And that was especially true today. I know there's not a parent in America who doesn't feel the same overwhelming grief that I do. The majority of those who died today were children. Beautiful little kids between the ages of 5 and 10 years old. They had their entire lives ahead of them. Birthdays, graduations, weddings, kids of their own. Among the fallen were also teachers, men and women who devoted their lives to helping our children fulfill their dreams. So our hearts are broken today for the parents and grandparents, sisters and brothers of these little children, and for the families of the adults who were lost. Our hearts are broken for the parents of the survivors as well. For as blessed as they are to have their children home tonight, they know that their children's innocence has been torn away from them too early, and there are no words that will ease their pain. As a country, we have been through this too many times. Whether it's an elementary school in Newton, or a shopping mall in Oregon, or a temple in Wisconsin, or a movie theater in Aurora, or a street corner in Chicago, these neighborhoods are our neighborhoods, and these children are our children. And we're going to have to come together and take meaningful action to prevent more tragedies like this, regardless of the politics. This evening, Michelle and I will do what I know every parent in America will do, which is hug our children a little tighter, and we'll tell them that we love them, and we'll remind each other how deeply we love one another. But there are families in Connecticut who cannot do that tonight, and they need all of us right now. In the hard days to come, that community needs us to be at our best as Americans, and I will do everything in my power as president to help. Because while nothing can fill the space of a lost child or loved one, all of us can extend a hand to those in need, to remind them that we are there for them, that we are praying for them, that the love they felt for those they lost endures not just in their memories but also in ours. May God bless the memory of the victims, and in the words of Scripture, heal the brokenhearted and bind up their wounds.
That is an emotional President Obama speaking just now about the mass shooting in Connecticut earlier today. Let's get back to NBC's Kristen Welker at the White House.
Steve, this is probably the most emotional that we have seen this president as he comes out to address the nation to respond to these types of tragedies. The reason understandable. He talked about the fact that so many young lives were lost today, the lives of children who had so much ahead of them, children who had the rest of their lives to live, children who will not be able to have their own children. So you saw a very emotional President Obama today. You also heard a bit of a call to action. He talked about the fact that in the wake of this shooting, he would like to see meaningful action to try to prevent these types of tragedies from happening in the future. What specifically did he mean by that? Of course, that will evolve in the coming days and weeks. Right now, the president clearly focused on extending his condolences, his sympathy to the victims, to all of the people who are suffering right now in Connecticut. You also heard him talk at the top of his remarks about the fact that he did reach out to the FBI director as well as the governor of Connecticut, offering his sympathy, but also offering the full support of the federal government as they begin what will undoubtedly be an incredibly long and difficult healing process. So President Obama becoming quite emotional as he addresses the nation about this most recent gun massacre.